There's a lot of information out there on manifestation, how to manifest, how to bring things you want into your life that is incomplete or missing certain things, which is why so many people struggle to manifest. Whether what you're trying to manifest is more money, that romantic, loving relationship that you've always wanted to have, a new business that just lights you up where you're financially free, have time freedom, have the ability to live wherever you want, just really anything that your heart desires. If you don't know how to manifest with the complete formula, it's going to be very, very difficult, if not impossible, to be able to do that. And the reason is when you have bits and pieces of how to manifest, it's kind of like having only bits and pieces of a recipe, but you're missing these core ingredients that make it all work, or you're missing certain gears in the machine that without, it just doesn't work at all, even if you have other ones in place. A great analogy that I love that I've heard other people talk about is it's like you're trying to bake a cake. And you need all of these different ingredients in a certain order and a certain time and so on to bake this cake. But let's say you're missing two core ingredients. You have some of the ingredients, you've picked up some along the way, but you don't have the full formula, you don't have the full recipe. Now, if you go to bake the cake based on what you do have, you're gonna get nothing like the final outcome you were going for because you're missing core ingredients. So in this video, I want to go over what the true manifestation formula or recipe is, what you need to do in order to properly use this formula, and also how to fast track your progress so you are not just manifesting just little itty bitty things in your life, but truly the things that will change your life in massive ways, where you'll look back and the sheer difference between who you were and who you are now is going to amaze you. Now, you don't have to listen to what I say here. It is not my place to project or force my worldview onto you. Simply everything I mention in this video and any of my videos are invitations based on things I have seen work, not only for myself, but for so many of my clients, my peers, and everyone else I have seen use this formula. I know that it works for those who do the work and trust the process, but again, it is not for me to push this worldview and say this is the only way, you gotta do this. It is simply an invitation, an encouragement to do this if it resonates with you. Like I mentioned, I've taken so many clients through a program that we run called EMF, where they have used this formula at deep levels and gotten incredible results. And if you want to learn more about that system, take this to the next level, I will link it down below in the description if you are interested. And you can also see on that page the results people have been getting to know that this is not just lip service, this actually works. Now, for me personally, using what I'm going to give you today and sticking with it consistently completely shifted my life in magical ways. And the funny thing is, even when I wasn't doing it that well, but I was trying my best to apply the whole formula and I was fumbling around and I was sometimes not sticking to it, even though that was happening, I was still getting fantastic results. And of course, those results have gotten better and bigger over time as I've gotten better and better at applying the formula and baking the cake properly, so to speak. But as you start moving in this direction, setting this intention and really going for it, you'll start noticing differences pretty quickly if you stick with it, even if you fall off course or fumble around every now and then. Now, for me, this included manifesting a life where I got to travel to so many different places that I wanted to go to and just live a very adventurous life while having a business that I absolutely loved. I loved to do it. It allowed me to grow and contribute and help people, falling in love with my now current girlfriend, Lily, and us being able to do some incredible things over the last few years and just having the time, location, and financial freedom that I always dreamt of. And again, all of this on the back of using this formula at deeper and deeper levels that I'm going to present to you today. And again, like I said, it doesn't just work for me. Everyone I've seen use this formula at a deep level, like the clients I've taken through it, my peers who know this stuff as well, it has gotten them results so long as they did the work and trusted the process. So that's enough preamble, that's enough intro. Let's dive into what this process is, how to apply it, because again, information and transformation are two radically different things. Knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. So I am going to go over how you can apply it and give you some tools that are going to help you do that. The first thing I want you to recognize if you want to be a powerful manifester is you have to acknowledge and recognize that you are powerful. You are never going to be able to manifest powerfully if you are at the whims of life and not taking responsibility for the deep-rooted, just infinite well of amazing power to manifest that you have. It's like the famous saying goes, whether you believe you can or can't, you are right. And so when you finally believe that I actually am a powerful manifester, I can do these things, that is when things will start to change and start to shift. But if you believe you can't and you're waiting for someone to do it for you, or you're waiting for something to magically fall into your lap, it's never going to happen. Manifestation is not magic in the sense of you just think of something and it appears. But it will move and have all of these different forces and principles and laws work for you to bring you different events, people, and so on to aid you in your mission towards your goal when you actually believe that you're powerful and start taking action from that place. Ultimately, what I mean is you have to make a decision to take control and responsibility for your side in the co-creative manifestation process. Is there a part of this that is outside of your control and you should surrender and leave alone? Absolutely. And the funny thing is, a lot of people try and take control of that part of the process and then don't take control of what their side of the process is. But you have to recognize that you are powerful. You may have not demonstrated it up to this point, but it is within you, and you can always make a new choice to start tapping into this. And when you do that, and then you approach from that mentality the rest of what we're going to go over, you will start to powerfully manifest, and the universal principles and laws will start to work with you. It's kind of like if you're swimming upstream and working against life versus allowing the river to take you and having the full power of the river at your back. Now, when it comes to the actual manifestations, will they come in or can they come in these seemingly mysterious, magical seeming and kind of out of left field ways? Absolutely. But again, that doesn't mean they're just falling into your lap. There are things you have to do to create the environment and the setup for these things to come in. In fact, when you're doing this right, the manifestations, especially the bigger opportunities, are almost always going to come out of left field, off your radar screen, because they always come in a non-linear way. If you can expect it, then it's not a breakthrough. If you can expect it, then it's not a big manifestation. You thought your way or connected the dots linearly to try and bring that about. When you don't do that, bigger things start to come in, and it will always be out of left field. And the reason I mentioned all that is because a huge part of your responsibility in the manifestation process is having a direction. If you are a rudderless ship out at sea without a captain and a crew with no destination in mind, what happens to that ship? It is thrown about by the winds of life, by the current of life, and just thrown around any old place, and typically it's not a good place. Now, what actually really happens if you are a rudderless ship is someone else ends up taking control of your rudder, and someone else puts a captain and crew on your ship that you're not even aware of. And this is different companies, this is politicians, this is social media and TV who try and influence you to believe in certain ideas that move you in a certain direction. And it's almost never to your benefit. And so if you don't start taking control of the direction you're moving in your life, if you don't appoint the captain and crew of your ship and maneuver the rudder yourself, either you will be tossed and turned at sea by the winds of life and the current, or someone else, without your knowledge, because it will be subconscious and unconscious, will be navigating your ship. And it will not be a destination that benefits you, but you can bet it'll benefit them. Versus if you do have a direction, the captain and crew on it, you're controlling the rudder, then you can continually make progressive movements toward your goal. It means you can know if you're on course or off course, and it means that the universe now knows what it is you want and where you're going and can aid you get the wind at your back instead of you just going into some zone where you're being thrown about. Now, a fantastic analogy that also paints a really vivid picture when it comes to this is just called the train station analogy. And essentially, this is the way it works. When you don't have a direction, a goal, a North Star, when you don't calibrate that inner GPS within you, it's like going up to a train station booth and asking for a ticket. And then the booth attendant says to you, okay, where would you like to go? And in response, you say, I don't know. And they say, well, I can't give you a ticket to nowhere. I need to know where you want to go. And there's all these different locations, all these different possibilities. This train goes anywhere in the universe. Where would you like to go? And again, you respond, I don't know where I want to go. I just don't want to be here. Take me to not here. Well, the booth attendant probably gets frustrated, closes the thing, puts closed on the thing, or I'll be back in 30 minutes, because they can't give you a ticket to nowhere, but they can give you a ticket to somewhere. They can give you a ticket to A, B, C, wherever it is you want to go, and it's not your job to know how you're going to get there. But it is your job to determine where is it, which direction are you looking to go. Now, the way we do this is we determine what our dream is and then what's called a definite chief aim. And you can think of a definite chief aim as a checkpoint on the way to your dream. So it's the train ticket you're buying, it's the thing you're focusing on now, because by focusing on that, it gets you closer to whatever that dream is. And so you can go up to the ticket booth attendant and be like, yes, I would like a ticket to here, please. They go, fantastic, here you go. Your train leaves in 1 hour. Please get prepared and then hop on the train at that time. When you have the dream and DCA figured out, and also what's called objectives and daily action steps, you have a huge foundation and base for this recipe that is going to serve you moving forward. If you do not have this in place, you have no foundation and no base. And so again, you could apply everything else we're going to go over here, but once again, that's like putting in the rest of the ingredients without that core base ingredient, foundational ingredient that you need. So I encourage you, invite you, I can't force you to not skip this because it is so crucial. Now, if you don't know how to set up a dream and a DCA and all these kinds of things, I got you. Don't worry. I will link a video down below that you can watch after this, after you've learned the formula here, that goes over how you can determine what your dream is, what the DCA is, from there and reverse engineer it. And seriously, take the time to do this, because if not, you are the equivalent of a rudderless ship on the oceans of life being thrown about, or even worse, like a lot of people being led in a direction by someone else unwittingly. And so get that figured out. And the thing is, we take you through how to do it in a way that connects you to the deepest part of you, so that what comes through as your dream is something you truly want and are truly excited about. And so if you've had some trouble figuring out what that is, we're going to show you how to figure out what that is, because that's a lot of people's complaint. Well, I don't know what it is I want. We got you on that too. We're going to help you to figure out what you want in that video. Again, it'll be linked down below. Please watch the rest of this and then go watch that next right away, I would add, if this is something you need help with to keep the momentum going. Okay, so I'm going to assume you already have that, or after this video, you're going to take care of that. And so we can move on to the next step. So at this point, you will have your internal GPS calibrated so that it's going to be able to guide you. You have your North Star in the sky so you can follow the direction of your dream. So that's taken care of. However, just having the direction is not going to be enough. We now need to make sure we're walking in the right direction, because you could have your GPS calibrated and go completely in the opposite way. And so now we need to shift how we think, how we act, how we feel, and how we speak to ourselves, because if we don't, we are just going to end up in a completely different destination. You see, the way you are doing this now is based on programming and an identity that you have that has led to the results you have been getting up to this point. You see, you assumed an identity or learned one when you were little, and then through being that more often than not, the matching opportunities, people, manifestations, circumstances, and so on have come through. You've always been manifesting, just probably in a direction that deep down you didn't want, despite that being what's there. So this is where we're going to bring in a new perspective, a new philosophy, a new tool called the be, do, have paradigm that is going to help you shift your identity so that you're moving in the direction of your North Star and not away from it or towards what you currently have now. If you're familiar with the law of assumption, you're going to notice some similarities here, and that is another amazing law that is going to help you do this. The be, do, have principle is going to help you have a practical tool to put this into action. Now, this next thing I'm going to say would be really good to write down if you're taking notes or you want kind of a quote or mantra that's very useful, and that is, your current physical reality and circumstances is simply an energetic history. Specifically, an energetic history that has been built up, formed, and eventually solidified as your physical circumstances through your words, your thinking, your feelings, and your actions. So what is currently in your life is nothing more than a history. It is the culmination, the result of what you have been doing in the past up to this point, the energy you have been building through your thinking, through your feeling, through your actions, through your words that have now formed in the physical or come about in the physical, been attracted in the physical. And so we need to shift and create a new history that is going to be more correspondent to where it is you're trying to go, or more related to where you are trying to go. Now, why is it that this is an energetic history? Well, what you have to understand is that matter is the densest and slowest rate of vibration. That means there is a lag period between the energetic realm, the thinking realm, and then the physical. Meaning you have to be feeling and thinking and taking action in a certain direction long enough for it then to manifest in the physical, which just takes a longer bit of time. But if you focus on a specific energy through your thinking, through your feelings, through your actions and your words long enough, a new history of those culminated up or added up will start to form in the form of opportunities, people, different circumstances, events, serendipitous things happening, synchronicities that will then create a new history. So if you have come mainly for most of your life from a very negative perspective, you've basically transmitted out there very negative energies, you've thought pretty negatively, which has caused you to act in a very negative way, maybe not taking initiative, maybe not having more courage and acting more from fear. You've probably spoke to yourself in a very negative manner as well. Well, then you are creating an energetic history that matches that. And so if you're struggling in finances, it's not a surprise. If you're struggling in relationships, not a surprise. If you're struggling in your health or other areas, well, it's not a surprise because your energetic history or the energy or what you have been doing beforehand can only lead to those kinds of results. But on the flip side, when you start thinking, speaking, acting, and feeling in a completely new direction, which I'm going to show you how to do in just a moment, you start creating new results. Suddenly your relationships improve, they get better, or ones that no longer fit fall away that were holding you back. Suddenly more opportunities to make money in ways that you love start to come in, and the old ways that were so stressful anyway start to fall away in order to create room for these new things. Your health now may have been not so much health, maybe you were tired all the time, you lacked energy, starts to change too, and new opportunities to improve your health start presenting themselves. So just understand that all of this is an energetic history based on how you've been leading up to now. So understand, when you resist what's here in your physical circumstances right now, when you are complaining about it, you are actually resisting a history, something that is actually from the past. So rather focus on where you put your attention now, what you assume to be true now, which puts your attention there. And this brings us to the be, do, have paradigm. You see, most people treat life like this, and they do this backwards. They believe they have to have something, which allows them to do something, and then they'll finally become something. Or sometimes they'll do something, which will allow them to have something, and then they will be something. You see, the problem with this is you are never actually connecting to the energy of that which you want to bring in your life. And consciousness, energy is primary. It is the main thing. If everything is made up of energy. So if you're not connecting to that energy now, you will not bring more of that energy into your life. So you'll never be able to build from where you are, or you'll have to force and really fight your way to those results, which will lead to other consequences you probably don't want to have. And so most people believe, again, they have to have something. And then when they have that thing, they can do the thing, right? They'll be able to do something. Right? And then when they've done those things, they'll be someone. Now I'll be what's considered successful. I'll be, someone who's worthy of love. I'll be someone who's worthy of acceptance, or whatever else it is. And this is backwards. But it is how most people are operating. And instead, we want to operate from what's called the be, do, have paradigm. And what that means is we connect to the beingness first. So if we want to be abundant, we connect to abundance first. If we want to be someone who's more peaceful and still, we connect to that first. If we want to be someone who's more healthy, we connect to health first. Appreciation first. Through connecting to this energy, what begins to happen? By moving in that direction, you start doing things naturally and more automatically that are on the same frequency as what you are being. You are now in a completely different energy. And when you're in a different energy, you move differently, you think differently, you speak differently. You are going to take different actions. And so we need to get you in a being state that's higher and more close to what it is you are aiming for. We essentially need to help you become the person that is worthy of the goal, become the person who is already at the goal now, and help you maintain it. The law of assumption also operates in this manner. Assume that you are already there. Assume that identity, assume that feeling now. Because why wait until you've done or have certain things to feel a certain way when you can access that feeling right now? And through accessing that feeling right now, you magnetize the events, the people, and the opportunities that correspond to that feeling. which means if you are sending out the feeling of abundance, you're going to attract in abundant opportunities. You're going to attract in people who come from a place of abundance. You're going to attract in circumstances that match that. And of course, when you're being that and doing those things, it is only a matter of time until you start having that equivalent, i.e. a new energetic history that's you having now the equivalent of what you were being and doing. It takes some time because there's a lag period. But if you, with faith, stick to being that and doing things from that place, the have will, after enough time, start to form itself, and suddenly you will have an energetic history that you absolutely love. Now, an exercise that you can do, and you can do this after the video, is you want to write out how the version of you who already has the dream or DCA would act, speak, carry themselves, think, etc. And this is going to give you a roadmap of how this person operates. And so you write out in detail, when I have this goal, or what does someone who is at this level of success, or whatever it is you're going for, how do they act? How do they speak? What do they feel like? How do they carry themselves? When they have a choice between two choices, which one do they choose? The higher choice or the lower choice? And you map that out. And then the thing is, be that now. Look at this often. Look at who you are becoming and start being it in as many moments as you possibly can. Take action from that place. Feel it, speak it, think it. Because by doing so, you will start to wire yourself to be that now. Now, to help you with this, I'm going to give you a very powerful analogy and tool that you can use, because I understand as you map this out, be, do, now, the patterns and the behaviors and the habits from the old self can sometimes come up and rear their ugly head and take you for a ride and hook you in, right? So you're trying to be this new person and boom, you get distracted and all these other things begin to happen. And so here's a really good analogy that you can use called the art gallery metaphor. And you just imagine that your life is like an art gallery. So everything that's in your life is up on this wall and is in this art gallery, and you're looking at it. Remembering that we need to be it now. Whatever it is we're looking to create, we need to be now. And then whatever you put your attention on and your focus on, you put your energy on. So if I put my energy and focus on all the reasons I'm appreciative and abundant, then that's what's going to grow in my life. But if I put all of my focus on the lack or the things I don't have, that's what's going to grow in my life. That's what more pictures on the wall are going to become. And so the way a lot of people treat their life is they're in the art gallery of their life and they're staring at a painting that they don't like. It's maybe the car they don't appreciate and they don't like it, and all the reasons they don't like it, and they're looking at this car and they hate it, or their boss at work who they can't stand, and they're looking at this painting in their art gallery that represents their boss, and they're screaming at it, they're angry at it, they're just livid at it. But if where focus goes, energy flows. And where you put your focus grows energy in your life, and wherever energy grows in your life will produce more of that in your life. Why would we give attention to the things we don't want or don't like in our life? Why wouldn't we start giving our attention to the things we want more of in our life? And so instead of screaming or complaining or moaning at the paintings on the wall you don't like, you have the choice to look at different paintings. Now, you have no right to change anything in your art gallery. Remember, this is all history. You have no right to destroy the history or go around and, resist it or whatever. You can resist it. But you have no right, for example, in the art gallery to take the painting and try and throw it off the wall. You'd be kicked out, right? And you'd be in an even worse place than when you began. So you don't have any right to destroy the art, but you have every right to walk into a different room that has completely different paintings. And what that means is you have every right to shift your focus to something new. And so if you're in an art gallery where it's Da Vinci, or it's Van Gogh, and you're like, I hate Van Gogh, why would you stay in that room? But some people are living their life in a room full of Van Gogh, and they're like, I hate Van Gogh, I hate that painting, I hate the way this looks, and they're just in there all day complaining about Van Gogh. And they're like, man, I really love Picasso though, and there's a room filled with Picassos right next to this room that they can walk into, but they're just complaining about, Van Gogh, right? And so for you, I would implore you, invite you not to do that. And instead of complaining about all the artwork on this wall, in this room, walk into another room that has artwork that you prefer. Give your attention to those, because as you give your attention to those things, they will grow in your life. And when you have a vision in place, the dream that you set up, the goal is to give more attention to the dream than the current physical circumstances. Have more loyalty in your vision and dream and who you are aiming to be now, rather than who you were that led to the paintings on the wall that you don't like. Take your attention off the paintings on the wall and that you don't like, and put them on the ones that you do through thinking, feeling, acting, and speaking of your dreams, of thinking about that all of the time. And then you look at that painting, it starts to grow, your energy starts to become influenced, that painting starts to become bigger in your gallery, you give it more attention, you water it more. And suddenly you're going to realize there are more opportunities to have more of these paintings on the wall in your art gallery. Just remember, the seed that you water is the one that will grow regardless of what the seed is. And so you can willingly water a weed if you want to, that's going to strangle the roses and the fruit and everything else you're trying to grow in your garden. And that's what a lot of people are doing when they're complaining about artwork on their gallery, right? That complaining about things they don't like in their life. They're essentially watering a weed unknowingly that's what they're doing. And the weed's becoming stronger, it's getting more sustenance, it's destroying and killing out the rest of the good stuff in your garden. Or you could switch your focus to watering the plum tree or whatever it is, or watering the roses or the lilies or whatever else it is. It depends on what you give your attention to, but whatever seeds you water will grow. So keep that in mind when you're doing the be, do, have formula. What you put your attention on is what you are being. What you are thinking about all the time is what you are being. Remember, you get what you think about and feel about most of the time. And so get your attention off of the artwork that you say you don't like and hate, and put it on the stuff that makes you feel good. Put it on your dreams. Put your attention on the things you want to build and grow more of in your life, and you will create a new energetic history. Now we're going to come to a core component of the recipe, and I call this one a core component because a lot of people don't know this or they think it's silly, and again, you could completely disregard it if you want to. But it works. I know 100% it does work. The most successful people use this, they understand that it works too. And you can think of circumstances where they don't look like they're doing that, but again, unless you know them intimately, then I would argue against that. This is absolutely what people at the highest level of success do, and they do something called feeling great now. Think about what I just mentioned about how you have to be, do, have. If you're being something, and one of the best ways to be something is to feel a certain way because you tune into a certain energy, would feeling like crap most of the time get you to your dreams, or would feeling really good be the thing that moves you toward your dreams? Now I'm going to tell you that it's going to be feeling good. You see, when you're feeling good now all of the time, the signal that you're sending out is going to be incredibly powerful. It has more power to it, has more energy to it, and it starts to allow things to come in sooner. It's like you're building this huge positive energy ball in your life that is magnetic, that draws like things to it, good things, opportunities, events, and so on. Most people have a huge negative energy ball going on in their life, again, because they're screaming at the artwork they don't like, and that attracts in as well. But you want to build a huge positive energy ball in your life by feeling great now, no matter what. Now, this is hard for a lot of people in the beginning. I get it, because so many of us are used to feeling crappy all the time. So many of you are us, even in this day and age, people talk about toxic positivity. There is no such thing in my eyes as toxic positivity unless it's disingenuous feeling great. You can't fake it, you can't pretend, right? And yes, there are times when you need to feel some of the lower emotions doing what's called shadow work. But outside of that, they don't really serve a purpose except reiterating and reinforcing a victim story that is going to keep creating an energetic history that doesn't serve you. And so I would invite you to let it go. Again, you don't have to agree here or listen to me. You can throw this out and not use it. I won't take offense. But this is what I have seen work so phenomenally well. Feeling great now. And if you're open to it, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can do this. Now, I may have mentioned feeling great now all of the time, but that is just the aim. That is the goal. In reality, it's going to be impossible pretty much for you to feel great 100% of the time because we're dualistic beings. We need contrast. But it's about where you live versus where you visit. A lot of people live more negatively, and every now and then they feel good. And it's a contrast, but they feel terrible or bad or kind of numb most of the time. And we want to flip this. We want to get to the point where our positive energy ball is so amazing. And as you get good at this, you build momentum, and it actually begins to be really hard to feel bad. You still will at times. And so you want to live from a place of feeling good most of the time, and every now and then you vacation and you visit feeling bad. And you're like, okay, I'm not feeling so great. I don't like this. I want to do things where I can just continually feel good. Right? Gives you contrast experience. But it's not about feeling good all the time, it's just about aiming for that and really creating a place where you can live mainly from that place. Now, another key part of this is not, again, always staying there, but getting back on the horse when you fall off, or when you fall off the cart, getting back on quickly, right? It's about recovery. And so maybe you don't feel great, or you're feeling great, and then you fall off. The game at that point is how quickly can you start feeling better or great again? How quickly can you realize I fell off the feeling great horse, we'll say? How quickly can you realize that and then just get back on the horse? And then you might be knocked off 30 seconds later. That's okay. Again, the game is, okay, I got knocked off. I'm not feeling so great. Do I need to do some shadow work? What do I need to do here? What's the best next thing I can do? How can I get back on the horse? Okay, you do that. And after you keep doing that enough times, eventually, you're gonna get so good at it, you'll notice you are not getting knocked off the horse as much. And when you do, you're so quick at recognizing it, you're able to snap and just get back on. Now, I did mention that you want to do what's called shadow work, because this is essentially going to release blocks that are currently making it very easy for you to feel bad or not feel great. A lot of people have blocks to happiness, to abundance, to health, to all these different things trapped in their field, in their energy body, and sometimes within their physical body. It'll have a corresponding place in your physical body. And so this is a very important thing to look at. And this is when you do want to entertain those lower emotions that need to be felt so that they can be released and just go on their own course. Your natural state of being is well-being. So it's not that you are naturally fearful or all these different things. It's just that you've cut yourself off from that and then created these blocks within you. So I will also, at the end of this video, link you to a video on shadow work that will give you some techniques that you can use in order to remove some of these blocks so you're able to more easily feel great most of the time, which is so much of the game of this. You should, again, like I've been taught by people who say this is like the main game. Like if you can feel great now while having the direction and doing everything else, you're going to be flying when it comes to your manifestations, and that has proven true in my life and the people that I work with and my peers who I know who are doing this too. And so again, at the end of this video, you will get one that shows you some of the best letting go techniques that I know. So if you know that you have blocks and other things you need to let go of, and you're ready to let go of them, I'd go look at that after this one. Again, the name of the game, especially of manifestation, is feeling great now or feeling better now. You don't always have to feel 0 to 100. You could be in fear and then feel anger, which is a step up, and then feel pride, which is a step up from there, and then courage, and then acceptance, then willingness, then wisdom, then love. And you can do that within a minute, right? But you can also take little steps up there, because if you're feeling better than you were a few moments ago, that's also a win. But this is so much of the game. And keep in mind, and this is from Abraham Hicks, it's an amazing quote and rings true, that your emotional guidance system will let you know when you're on track to your dreams by making you feel good, excitement, and these kinds of things. When you're not feeling good, it means you're off track. And basically the feedback is trying to get you back on track. Now, some of the analogies I have given you are already going to serve as tools, and I've already given you some other tools that are going to be very useful. But I'm going to give you a few more here that can help you on this journey. Now, the first thing is make sure you do the be, do, have exercise that I gave you. And after this video, if you haven't already or haven't really determined what your dream DCA and just the direction you're trying to go in your life, make sure you do that. In fact, that would be one of the first things I would make sure you do. But you'll see that there's a lot of overlap between the be, do, have exercise and also the dream one, because the identity you're looking to move into next is going to correspond with your dream, your DCA, and so on. But these two are crucial. You really want to get these in place. Remember to choose new art when you're screaming at the artwork in your gallery. Take a step back, recognize that you got hooked, and make a new choice. You can't change anything in your art gallery. Again, you can't rip things off the wall, but you have every right to choose differently. Another thing I want to give you, which is so crucial, because understand that in every moment, you're always in the moment. There really isn't a past and a future, in the ways that we talk about it. Everything you're doing is a moment-to-moment basis, which means you're in infinite action. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because a huge tool and strategy is what's called the mental diet. You see, your subconscious mind is picking up bits of information all the time. And so if you're watching junk TV, if you're watching the news, if you're, consuming really junk media, it's in the same way as consuming junk food in your diet and then wondering why you're putting on a few more pounds. Or you're trying to work out and get stronger, but your diet's terrible, and so you're not really getting the results that you want. It's the same for your energy. If you are tuning in to, say, Instagram, TikTok, God forbid, all these kinds of things, and allowing your mind to just be melted into mush, your mental diet is the equivalent of eating donuts every day for every meal, right? And so really take control and discipline your mental diet. It's not only about elimination, But after you've eliminated those things, to start adding things that are going to help you and assist you. For example, videos like this or other really high conscious videos, certain books, the common ones like Think and Grow Rich, Power versus Force is a really good one. There's a ton out there. Karmic Management, there you go, you can take a look at those if you want. But reading a little bit at least every day of a really positive influence book. Getting coaching or mentorship is one of the best ways because you'll be held accountable. You'll go through a proven system. As long as other people are getting results in the system, then again, it'll put you in an environment where the information you're absorbing is going to influence you positively and move you closer to your dreams. Again, if you want to check out ours, link is down below. We go on a very deep journey. It's not for the faint of heart, but it is for those who are ready to change and transform for real. But getting in something like that is going to help you to be influenced by the things being presented to you. The thing is, we are always being influenced and we are influenceable, if that's a word. It's just how you're going to go about it. If you don't take control of it, again, you're like a rudderless ship and you're going to start being conditioned to certain programming that you probably don't want to be conditioned to. But if you start taking control of it, kind of tune that stuff out, and start taking control of your mental diet, suddenly you're now steering the ship. And the final tool I want to give you is what I mentioned earlier, and it's so huge, especially if you notice that you have many blocks. So I'd go watch this video next where I go over some of the best letting go techniques, the best shadow work techniques, including one of the best I've ever come across. So I'd go watch that next.